Alrighty, kind of doing a little bit of an unboxing and review here. This is the Mopar HEI conversion bracket, and it's sold by designtodrive.com. Let's start off with the packaging. How about that, okay? We get this cheesy little packaging, and as you can see, I'm covering up my personal information. And it looks like a 12-year-old girl wrote the return address and decided to use a bunch of stamps instead of being professional and going to the post office and just having them weigh it, print a label, and tag it. So I don't know, that right there kind of one of those things that make you go, Moving on from there, you open it up, you got a hardware bag, okay? It's got the 2 screws that are going to mount into the bottom of the distributor. Let me take them out of the bag for you. Okay, hardware opened, right? So what you're going to get 2 of these screws right here that are recessed because the way he machined it, and this fits really, really snug with the nipples. I gotta pause it. Need 2 hands. As you can see, it's recessed. Okay? Because this is actually gonna face down when it's installed. Your module will go here, so these are recessed so as not to inhibit the placement of the module. Okay? Now that screw, and again there's 2. I got one in here. It is 10/32. Okay? And size-wise, you're looking at about... Well, I'll let you see that for yourself. A little less than 1/2 of an inch. I guess I should turn it around. That might make it a little easier. So about 10 millimeters. You know, that's one last thing I forgot to show you. Because of the screws being mounted underneath, you're going to have to fucking come under with either something small like this or something like this to get under that distributor if you ever got to replace that module, or you got to pull the motherfucker. So keep that maintenance in mind if you decide to go this route. Hence another reason why I like the GM module. I'm going to go ahead and mount one under with my distributor just to see how it fits. And when I get around to doing that, I'll go ahead and do a removal, replacement, control ignition module, fucking replacement and show you. Okay? Then it comes with 2 screws to actually bolt your control module down. Okay? Nice thing here, if you have a stock GM HEI distributor, I got like fucking a dozen of them, so I cannibalized one. The screws that come with the stock HEI setup are actually the same thread pitch, because you get these 2 of these with it. 6-32, okay? And I already tested it. It's the same size and both work, okay? So these are your stockers. Oh, I'll give you a length. Let me be nice. That's 1/2 an inch. And that's in between 15 and 20. 16, 17 millimeters. Okay, so I'm not happy with this product. I'm not going to lie. It actually kind of pisses me off. The first thing I noticed right off the bat was it doesn't fit. Now, it says on his website, will fit all Mopar distributors. But it doesn't fit this one. It just so happens to be the licensed Mopar distributor. I got the big block. variant. See? Now, a little backstory for you. They used to be made by Mopar, and then, I don't know, maybe 5-6 years ago, capitalism got the best of them. They outsourced it to China. Next thing you know, Proform's making them. But with that being said, even though it's not the old distributor it used to be, like the one I put on my brother's car back in the 90s, which was a lot, you could tell it was heavier, it is the official licensed product. And these things sell like hotcakes. You know, I actually got mine on eBay and he had sold like 250 of them. I mean, everybody's using this shit, okay? So why it wouldn't fit this, I don't know. What I can tell you is the vent hole here, drain hole, whatever you want to call it, it needs to be moved out. Literally, I'd say at least 3/16 a quarter of an inch. So that was the first thing I noticed. The second thing I noticed, it says he has a coating on here so that it won't, you know, to resist corrosion. Just in the little bit I've played with it, I don't know if you could tell from my camera. There you go. The fucking shit scratches off, man. I mean, at least anodize it. You know, you would think it was anodized until you see how easily it scratches off. Now, this is aluminum. It's not forged. It's not extruded. Just cheap China cast aluminum. And me doing this is enough to take that coating off. So I guess if you're going to go this route, be really careful with it so it doesn't get scratched up. Granted, if it does corrode, it's not the end of the world. I mean, it's acting more of a heat sink. Well, no, I take that back. It's acting as a ground also because it's got a ground to ground the coil. But at any rate, let me make sure I got it flipped right, okay? So you got these little recessed notches, right? You also have this little notch to fit over this part of the distributor right there, okay? Let me get a better angle here. No, I was on the wrong side. It's going to fit on this side. Trust me, I've flipped it both ways and it's way off the other way. Okay, so let me show this to you. Let me get a flashlight to try to show you the hole. This fucking half-ass machining. Can you see I'm lined up on the hole? Let's do it this way. I'm going to cock it off a little bit. Now you see it hole's off. If I could hold the flashlight with my chin. Bingo. Okay? You know what? I can even add one of these in, even though it's not been tapped. Let's see what it does. Okay. I tried to put a screw in. His directions specifically say to tap it with a 10/32. On any electronic distributor, he says the points, you got to rip it apart. You got to re-drill the holes because the holes are too big. The pilot holes before you tap it, yada yada. I'll get to that in a second. But at any rate, so okay, I'm lined up. Let me get re-lined up here. Lined up with my hole. Get the flashlight on, you can see it. As you can see, this right here butts right up to the distributor, okay? Well, look at this fucking hole. Look at that motherfucker, huh? Would you say that's a little off or that's a lot off? And as you can see, I'm fucked. I'm fucked. I would literally have to re-tap a whole new hole, rip the distributor apart, the reluctor thingy for the advance. I mean, brand new distributor, and I got to rip it apart because this fucking cocksucker can't machine a part right. Now, you know, you may be thinking what I'm thinking. Okay, you know what? There's a lot of distributors out there. Maybe these just had the vent holes done differently. But, you know, it's the official licensed Mopar distributor. It's been out for at least 6 years. The remake. You know what I mean? He hasn't figured this out. There's no disclaimer on his website. I'm the first fucking person to figure this out. That your fucking machining is piss poor. And that this needs to be like fucking over here. I mean, look at that, man. Look at that. It's fucking me in the ass. I don't like getting fucked in the ass. It hurts. Especially from a dude. You know, if I'm with a fucking crazy chick and she's, you know, we're in the middle of it and shit's all hot and she gives me a little fucking love tickle, maybe I'll handle that shit. But I don't want no fucking dick in my ass. Dude. What the fuck? You couldn't machine that right? Now, I got taps, I got dies, I got bits. I can fix this, but it's the principle of it. What the fuck, man? I shouldn't have to do that. A lot of you guys watching aren't like me. You need shit to just bolt on and kind of work as advertised. Now, he does say in his directions, yeah, you probably should drill another hole so it has, you know, for ventilation and condensation and whatnot. But, so I guess you could argue, you could re-drill and tap it and then you'd still have a hole here. But that shouldn't fucking happen, man. Trust me, I don't have it on wrong. I've done it every which way. It's the same as the pictures that he has online, which I'll show you now. And you can see that picture even had the same little cock ring around the base here. So I thought, okay, what if I start grinding into this brand new piece that's, you know, got the half-ass, I want to be anodized look, but it's, you know, got a coating. Well, let me show you what happens. Okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and put the control module on here. And I'm going to use one GM screw and one of his screws just to kind of show you. Let me back up. You got these little tits, okay, these little stanchions that stick out of the module. One good thing is those fit. They fit really snug. Like at first I thought it wasn't. I had to like really give it a lot of pressure, which you could argue that tolerances between different aftermarket companies, this is a Wills I'm holding, could be different. But I mean, at least it's on center, you know. Not easy to get them apart. I didn't have to use a flathead, but I mean, you know, both hands pulling with quite a bit of pressure to get them apart. But at least that part fits. Okay, so I got the module screwed on. That's his screw. And they do look like stainless steel screws. At least he did nice on the screws. You can see his doesn't protrude out. Neither does my GM one. That's a 1/4 of an inch head, by the way. It's not metric. That's like a number 2 screwdriver. Like a number 2 Phillips. Get my finger in there for reference. I try to be thorough on these reviews. Show you shit you can't see, you know, from the 3 fucking pictures on the guy's website. What I don't like, cheap is fucking shit on the connectors. Now, granted, you know, if you're professional, you use your own shit. I use stainless steel. I get mine from my local HVAC supply shop. It's a lot cheaper that way, but you could probably find them on eBay. These are huge, man. I got to get my phone to focus better here. Let's see. Does that do the trick? Every now and then my phone gets moody. Put it back like that. But they're huge, man. They're absolutely gapingly huge. Let me get my thumb in there. I mean, yeah, you could twirl it. It'll work. At least he gave you the right size. That's an oddball one. You can actually, if you go to O'Reilly's, they got the gold-plated stereo connectors. That'll work too. But get some stainless steel ones. You know, the HVAC place, they'll have this size too. I don't have these in stainless steel, but I got some I tested out from my car audio stuff, and they fit. But at any rate, okay, back to what we're talking about here, right? So this motherfucker, I either need to grind this down, which I don't know if I want to do, because I could see this China cast not being very thick, and you'd have to rip the whole thing apart to even try to analyze that. But even if I wanted to grind this, my module is not going to make it want to fit. Okay? I mean, it is way off. In that module, I got a little bit of room, but I mean, depending on how far I go in, I could grind, and it may do the trick, but it's getting that module closer to the shaft that's making contact even more to the engine. So it's like you got this acting as a heat sink, and then also bleeding off heat onto the body. I mean, the lower you get, the more you're getting to that engine, you know? And then here's another thing. The way this is designed, instead of kicking it out a little bit more, the whole fucking part that's supposed to be heat sinked isn't even making contact. I mean, yeah, 90% of it is, but that's so fucking half-assed, man. I mean, I know what he's thinking. Let's keep it nice and compact so it fits everybody's engine compartment. But I mean, still, man, it's like, fuck, you couldn't have figured that out? I mean, you got this all hanging off. You couldn't have moved it down a little bit? Fucking cocksucker, man. Seriously. Get a CNC machine and make my fucking own, you know? That's what I need to do. I don't have enough hours in the day, though. So, here's Shaun4BigBlocks' recommendation, okay? You may get lucky, and depending on what distributor you have, this may bolt on no problem, okay? But, how about we do it the right way? Look at this little bitch. AC Delco. And I'm not endorsing AC Delco because I don't work for them. I'm just saying this is the fucking part that'll probably work better. 104-74-610. You open that there little box, and voila, you get a control module heatsink that can bolt to your firewall, okay? Let me pause it. I want to go ahead. Well, I'll compare them side by side. Let me unbolt this. Unscrew it. Okay, I got it unscrewed. This screws onto this piece. Those two little holes, you could screw it into your firewall for mounting, okay? Now, I initially, before I got it, just assumed that the little tits would fit into it. But they don't, and that's kind of a fucking bummer, man. So it's like, I'm going to see either I have to cut the tits off or do a little drilling or grinding on either side, because this has to sit flat to get that heat sink going, you know. Mind you, I already wiped off all my my conducting grease, but that's the only shitty thing about this. Otherwise, these holes line up good with these holes, okay? These mount it, so you can have that. Pick a good place here. Mount it on your fucking firewall with easy access. You could even make your own of this, but I thought this was pretty nice. Again, I don't have a CNC mill, and if I did, I wouldn't have the time to fucking do all that in CAD. Doesn't mean I couldn't. Just means I shouldn't. Not at this point in my life. So I bought it. But this is actually cheaper than this. And other than either cutting off the tits or massaging it, which if I do end up massaging it, maybe I'll add that in or make a second video. But, I mean, I think that's the way to go. You tell me, you know. Or I could stick with Ricky fucking Retardo's fucking, I don't know how to fucking make my shit fit. And I will, before I put this in. I mean, my current distributor and my 440 Big Block works. I just wanted to really freshen it up. And I got to rip it apart anyways, because I got to try to get the advance curve to be real similar to my other advance curve, because this is for performance. And my big block's in a big RV, so I got to make sure my ignition's not coming in too fast and all that kind of stuff, so I don't detonate. That's a chapter for another day. And I'm going to go into that. And, you know, I see a lot of bullshit information about the Mopar system and the HEI conversion, so I'm going to do a nice, big, thorough video to help everybody out there. Oh, that's what I wanted to show you. Before we conclude, with getting fucked in the ass by this fucking bozo. Here's his fucking instructions. If you have any questions or problems, you know, let me give the guy one fair bit of credit. I'm not going to email him or call him. I might email him just to tell him his shit's fucked up and to figure it out. I might. But here's the thing. I bet you $1 million that motherfucker says, we'll just re-drill it and re-tap it. Fuck you! That's not the answer. I already got that answer. How about do it fucking right the first time, man? Because now you just added a whole nother project to my fucking shit. I didn't want to rip this apart until I changed all the fucking reluctors and shit to get the advance right for my fucking heavy vehicle. I wanted to pop it in as is, see where everything is from the factory on this thing, test it out, then pull it out. Then now I'm going to have to fucking... You see what I mean? Like... People cause people fucking headaches when they fuck up. I always tell my wife and my kids, don't just do something. Do it. Then double check it. Then triple check it. Where's the double and the triple check, motherfucker? Fucked me in the ass and it hurts. I don't like getting fucked in the ass.